Hello, and welcome to the next episode of How the Hell Did I Get Here with Meg and Rachel. Thanks for joining us. Rochelle, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I really am excited and looking forward to this.
Yes, this is going to be a lot of fun because we are fun havers after all.
I feel like I should have like the old timey radio noises for this, like the
little horse clap things. Yeah. Oh, I like it. Maybe we should get some of those. I have a train whistle in my office.
You have a train whistle.
I do. Yeah.
We should totally get
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, next time. So, all right, we're going to tell the guests a little bit about Rochelle, and then we'll get cracking with our show for the day. So our guest today is Rochelle Hemingway. She is the Chief Master Sergeant, Command Chief of the 28th Bomb Wing at Ellsworth Air Force Base in South Dakota.
That is the coolest title I think we've ever had.
Right,
on the
I know.
show.
Yeah, it's like I own Amazon. Whatever, Jeff Bezos.
Right.
You're
whatever.
not this.
That's right.
Okay.
You're not Rochelle Hemingway.
Yeah,
so.
no, you're not.
No.
I mean, seriously. Chief Hemingway leads the wing's enlisted forces and serves as the primary advisor to the commander on all matters concerning the morale, welfare, warfighting effectiveness, operational utilization, and the professional development of nearly 3,200 enlisted airmen who support the largest B-1 combat wing in the U.S. Air Force. That's a slow clap right there. That's a slow clap.
This makes me so happy. I love it.
That's
I love
cool.
it.
We get to talk to so many cool people.
I know, right? It's the best.
Yes. Okay, so Rochelle, thank you for coming and joining us on our show. And the first question is, what was your moment? Tell us a little bit about your story and your moment where you looked up and you thought, how the hell did I get here?
Well, okay. So I'm gonna just start a little bit from the beginning, and then I'll work myself to today. So I came in '91. I had no clue, zero clue what I was getting myself into. My dad served for 23 years in the United States Air Force, and so as I saw him, I really didn't know what he was doing at work. But when I got into the military, I quickly found out that there was rules, there's policies, there's all these different unknowns and uncertainties. And so I had to adapt quickly because I did not want to go back home. And so I worked hard. I started really listening to my supervisors. I raised my hand for everything. There was an opportunity. I just kind of stepped forward. And then, 10 years progressed in, and I went to school to be an independent duty medical technician. And I went deployed to all these different places, providing humanitarian support as a medical technician by myself in these places where they don't send doctors and nurses at. And was able to overcome a lot of challenges and difficulties in that. And then the next 10 years, I served as a first sergeant on the inspector general's team, going back and forth to the medical group and serving in that capacity. And then one day I looked up and I saw my husband and several other chiefs come into my office and said, guess what? You are the next Chief Master Sergeant in our United States Air Force.
Awesome. Which is very hard to get, right?
It's 1% of the enlisted force are Chief Master Sergeants.
Holy shit. That's impressive.
It's crazy.
Right. I was completely floored. My husband had made chief maybe a year and a half, almost 2 years prior to me. And so it was really okay, I guess, in my mind, for a male to make chief, because you see a lot of males in our career field. So when, they said, hey, you are the next chief, I said, oh my goodness. And, over the next, couple of weeks after I kind of learned, that I had made chief, I said, this is a platform. All right. So I'm going to make it to where I'm going to invite a lot of people to my platform. And I'm going to expose all these different leaders amongst me that also are wanting to aspire to be a chief. And so I took it literally. I took it seriously. I didn't rest on my laurels. I'm still working as much as I possibly can to impact people. And it's one of my passions that I like to do. So I'm having a lot of fun with it. There are days though that I ask myself, really, like, can you still do this? You know, because I'm almost 50 years old, just truth be known. So it does take a lot of effort and energy, but I'm more than happy to serve.
Yeah, I love that story. And I have a friend who made chief, and what I heard through attending his ceremony was there's two big things that change. One is you get your own parking place.
Okay, yeah.
And two, people call you God, because that's how much power you have.
What?
So I'm just saying, I mean,
God Rochelle.
that's right. Here
we are. Here we are. Well, you're one of the gods.
Because
man.
you're in charge of all things. I mean,
Wow.
small g God,
Yeah.
small g God.
Right. I don't even really look at it that way, you know, because you know, there's a lot of humility that you have to have, because as much as you build your empire, you know, the higher you get, the harder you may fall. And that kind of, you know, mindset. So I'm like, oh, I'm just not going to get to a point where the ego takes over and, you know, it's like all about me in this. I know I had a lot to do because I worked hard to get here, but knowing that I have a lot of work to do is still in me. So
Yeah, I know a little bit. We've had an opportunity to have a conversation. I know a little bit about your leadership philosophy, but I want to just mention in the middle here that in our assessment, you showed up in our assessment as a fixer, which probably doesn't surprise you because that's a team-driven person.
Yes.
And you can also deal with a little bit of chaos.
Yes.
You're not real deep on the chaos
Not
list,
deep,
but,
not
but,
deep. I don't
but
like
that means
drama.
you can, that's right. That means you actually don't mind the structure,
Yes.
but that you can deal with the chaos a little bit.
Yes.
And I think that really leans into what your leadership philosophy is. So I wonder if you'd tell us a little bit about that and what your acronym stands for, because I think people would love to know.
Yeah, well, I like leading from the transformational standpoint, transformational leadership, which, you know, does drive the team. I have the energy and the passion. I like to build teams. I like to hear what people have to say. When I get on stage, I like to inspire and motivate people to, you know, push through adversity. I've had plenty of that throughout my career. So I, you know, tend to always be in that kind of mindset. So, you know, there's a story to my acronym, as with all things, but to save some time here, I really like Beyonce. Okay, so I just like her as on stage for what she does and what she can do. I mean, her success is just marvelous to me. So there is a word that she says in her formation song, and it's slay, S-L-A-Y. So I had to ask the younger airmen, like, what exactly does that mean? Because I'm old and say these lyrics or whatever, but she keeps saying that. And so they said it means to kill it, to dominate it, and to nail it. And so I said, okay, that word is mine. Okay, and so thank you, Beyonce. Hopefully she doesn't get too upset when I use it as a hashtag, and it's a bridge. I try my best to, you know, that connection from the younger airmen that come in when I came in at 19, and, you know, something that they can relate to when they hear it. And so I didn't want to come here to Ellsworth and go, okay, people, we're just slaying things out here. Okay, so let's get to it. Some meaningful context. And it has nothing to do with our mission, our vision for, you know, the base, but it has everything to do with how do you face your career. So I've adopted principles over my 30 years. And the S stands for staying ready to be ready. The L stands for leading out loud. The A is for a sense of family, a sense of community. And the Y is you are built to last. So I talk about a lot of my journey using stories to how I stay ready, how I lead out loud, why do I choose the family concept, and, why I want to continue to serve. And it's all about leaving a legacy. So, but it takes time to do that. You just don't get it. All right. You have to build upon bricks. I call them bricks sometimes. I talk about the brick concept, but you're layering every year, every opportunity to get to, what you deem as success.
Yeah, I love it because it talks so much about, one of the things that Rochelle and I talked about were how much that talks to her team driven side. A lot of leadership's all about the slaying part, but you have a sense of family feel that I would imagine really resonates with people in a way that, just the, go get them sort of attitude kind of misses. And all of us want to feel valued. And I think sometimes we get in leadership, we get sort of subsumed in the achievement and we kind of miss. And I'm also team driven, from my perspective, we lose that, team connection sometimes. So I think that's why a lot what your hashtag slay is going to really resonate with people, and does already with your current folks, but like after you retire and start this sort of next phase, I think it's really going to connect with people.
Yeah, I really had to think about what I was going to stand for and what I do stand for. So those are like the most highlighted concepts that I still think that, if we focus a little bit more on these particular 4 areas, that everyone, including yourself, will benefit from it. The Air Force is so big, but so little. All right. You say, oh, Air Force, and you're like thinking this huge monster, but then you see the same people. Like I go from one base to the next and I run into people that I've seen at previous bases and go, oh my goodness, and to me, that is the best part of it. That's that family that I'm talking about is, we learn and we grow and we're always trying to protect one another. We're always trying to live in peace with one another. And so, that's the way that you need to treat one another, like as your family member. And some people don't have, quite the family dynamic growing up, but my vision is to create that for the people that are around me. So I've been using that to my advantage.
Yeah, I like it. And I like the why, you're built to last. Because there's a lot of this, like the rise and grind, and you got to grind it out. And I get that. And you have to know how to face adversity. But I think it's really important to take a moment to say, well, how do you face it? And make sure that you're going to last. Because so many people take that rise and grind concept, at face value. And they're like, okay, I just got to keep going. I got to grind it out. And then the next thing they're fried and they can't, they lose traction in their career or in important relationships. So I think I like the way you phrased it, because I think that sort of it situates it at a spot where, you have to pay attention to how to do that or learn how to do it. It just doesn't just happen. Like you said, this all doesn't just happen overnight. You have to learn how to do those things. So I think that's a really important piece of it too.
Yeah, I in that you're built to last, I talk about positive purpose, living in your positive purpose. You're having an arsenal of whys instead of just 1 or 2. Why are you doing what you're doing? Being committed to what you say you're going to do. And, instead of you trying to build a resume, live a legacy. Because, my son, my nieces, my, whatever that is looking at me, they need to know that, again, these things just don't come overnight. I tell my nieces all the time, don't go hard in the paint. Okay. You got to slow yourself and pace yourself. All right. Because you may be missing a lesson that needs to be learned. And then, like you said, burning yourself out. What are you going to be at the end of the day? So there's a reason that life happens, and then life happens to see you go through a journey step by step by step. And you're more comfortable in that. So I'm always comfortable in the uncomfortable. So it's just the way it is.
Spoken like a true victor.
That's
I
right.
love it.
That's right.
Amen. I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah. Oh, well, Rochelle, it has been really our pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, all Rochelle's details will be in the show notes that Shelley takes care of always and does the magic things. And this will be out when it's out.
I don't know.
I don't know. We're not in charge of any of that.
We're not in charge of that.
We're not in charge of
So
any of the important things, actually.
before you retire, you'll have it out.
Yeah.
It'll be good.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And congratulations.
Yes.
on
Thank
your
you.
retirement.
Yes.
Thank
And
you very much,
Thank
ladies.
you very much for your service.
Thank you for the invite, and I appreciate you.
Yes. All right. Well, until next time, folks, lead powerfully.
Change the world.